Hey everyone, this is Cassie, and we're talking about Scouts BSA with Scott Rouse. How are you?
Doing great, thanks. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, of course. So maybe you can start by just telling our listeners what you do with Scouts and how you're involved.
Sure. So, my current involvement with Scouts is at the Cub Scout level primarily. So, but let me sort of back up and give a little history. So, I grew up in Scouting started as a Tiger Cub in, I guess, probably first grade, and went all the way through the program, became an Eagle Scout, and was really involved throughout that as a young Cub Scout. My mom was involved as what they called a den mother back then.
Sure.
So she ran our den, and my dad was involved with my scout troop when I got into Boy Scouts, and had a number of jobs related to that. I worked at summer camps in high school, and even early in college, worked at some high adventure bases, and so got quite a bit out of it. And then took a bit of a vacation from scouting as I went through college and my early career. And fast forward a few years, now I've got two sons. My oldest son is 7 and getting ready to be 8 pretty soon.
Awesome.
And so 2 years ago he was a kindergartner, and the scouting program, the Cub Scouting program at that point, had started a pilot program for kindergarten scouts.
Oh, cool.
Called Lions. And so I thought, what a great opportunity to get back into it. I'd kind of always thought that one day I'd be involved if I had sons or had kids. And so I took that opportunity to become involved, get him involved in a Cub Scout pack here in Missoula, and pretty quickly moved into the role as his den leader.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Sort of ran a den, a group of kindergarten boys, and really enjoyed that. A few months into that, there were some changes in our pack where our Cub Master that we had to move on for work reasons. And so I was asked to step up into that role as Cub Master.
Yeah.
So I took over the leadership of that pack as the Cub Master, and have been doing that now for a year and a half or so. And have really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And in addition to my work with the pack, I do some work with the larger district here in Missoula, working as a roundtable commissioner and sort of acting as a resource for other units in the area.
Yeah. So for people that are listening and maybe don't know anything about Scouts, could you tell us the difference between a den and a pack?
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Cool.
So, the sort of bigger, broader picture again, I'm involved primarily with Cub Scouts, which is like the younger version of Scouts.
Sure.
And those are boys and girls in ages 5 through 12, kindergarten through 5th grade, basically.
Yeah.
And a group of those kids together is called a Cub Scout pack.
Okay.
And there are a number of Cub Scout packs in town, in the area, and each one of them would be sponsored by some organization, a nonprofit or a church, something like that. And then that pack is broken up into smaller groups called dens.
Okay.
And Scouts are broken up into dens by age and by gender. So Cub Scouts is, like I said, for boys and girls. And you might have all the kindergarten Scouts might be in lion dens. So those are called lions. And so you would have a boy lion den and a girl lion den. And typically they meet separately and work on age-appropriate activities.
Sure.
So what we call adventures in the Cub Scout age. And they work on those to achieve their next rank. Ranks in Cub Scouting go along with age and grade. So as they move on from kindergarten into first grade, they become tiger cubs, and then they become wolves and bears, and then webelos from there. And so dens are those smaller components of a pack. So our pack is made up of mini dens.
Yeah, I think it's neat that they get to work within their age group, but also see older kids participating still. So it's empowering.
Yeah, absolutely. They do some work in their own age groups in the den, and then we get together as a pack fairly often, at least once a month for a meeting, and usually an additional time a month for some activity.
Sure.
And so they're involved with the other kids.
Yeah. So you said that the younger kids, the kindergartners, that's a new age group.
Yeah, so a few years ago, that was a pilot program that the Boy Scouts of America started. Now it's a full-fledged official program.
Yeah.
So Lion Scouts is a thing.
Right.
And so Cub Scouts is open to kindergartners. Now, when I was a young kid, it was first grade and up for many years. But now kindergarten through 5th grade.
So how many kids are in the pack that you oversee?
It can really vary in different packs. Our pack has around 50 kids.
Okay.
It fluctuates throughout the year. But
and how many dens are in your pack?
Well, so we would have about, it's a roughly 10 dens,
Sure.
right? So if you think we've got lions and tigers and bears, webelos and arrows of light, that's 5 different levels, each of which usually has a boy den and a girl den.
Sure.
And I think maybe ours is officially closer to 8. We don't have girls at some levels right now.
Yeah, since it's newer.
Yeah. So having girls in Cub Scouts is a bit of a newer thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So you experienced it as a kiddo. You started in first grade also?
That's right.
Okay,
yep.
And then now you're seeing your kids go through it.
Yeah.
Are there any major differences that you see, or some things that have lived throughout?
Yeah, so a lot of it is the same. I mean, the focus on the family and being engaged and involved in the outdoors and just having fun, that certainly hasn't changed at all. I think the most notable change that most people realize these days is the inclusion of girls in Cub Scouts and in Scouts BSA, which, Cub Scouting has always been a real family-focused sort of program. And, even years ago, even back when I was doing it, it was not unusual at all for girl siblings to be there and to be involved with everything with their brothers. There were and still are a lot of female leaders. Our assistant Cub Master is a female. A lot of our den leaders are females. And so, that really hasn't changed. And now Scouts have just made it official, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's include everybody in that.
Now the sisters can earn badges, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool.
And we recognize that there's real value in them having time with kids of the same gender, where all the boys are separate from the girls in certain activities. And those are the different den activities.
Yeah.
But then we get together as a pack all together, just like they're together in schools. And there's a lot of value out of that.
So what is one of your favorite memories from when you were a scout?
Oh, so many of them. Yeah. I mean, as a young scout in Cub Scouts, I remember, spending time with my friends, and our den meetings tended to always be over at my house, because my mom was the leader of our den. And so I remember fun with that kind of stuff. I remember a lot of the day camps that I did. But probably my most memorable would be as I got a little bit older into what they called Boy Scouts back then.
Yeah.
And was working toward earning my Eagle Scout rank, and all the activities that I went through for that, learning different things, earning merit badges. And it developed a real varied interest for me. So I developed a real interest in first aid and emergency medicine and helping people out. One of my first careers was as a paramedic after high school. And that was directly related to my experiences in scouting. I learned a lot about teaching others and about speaking to other people and speaking in public in Scouts is something you sort of are forced to do in a good way over time as you evolve through that program. And then, I really valued my time and experience that I got working at scout camps. So I grew up in Texas, and I worked at a scout camp there called Lost Pines Scout Reservation. A little shout out to those guys.
That's awesome.
So that was a fantastic experience. And then I worked at Philmont Scout Ranch, which is a national high adventure base in New Mexico for a couple years at the end of high school and into college.
Are those camps open to scouts from any state to go to? Okay.
Yeah, so typically what we call a council camp, so like Lost Pines in Texas is a council camp. So that was the Capital Area Council in Texas. So most of the troops that would go there were from that council, but certainly anyone was welcome. Any scouts were welcome to go to that. Philmont is a national high adventure base, so it's not affiliated with one particular council. Councils are a broader group. So, for example, here in Montana, we have the Montana Council, which makes it most of the state. And so Philmont would have been a camp that people from literally from all over the world. I had a crew from Japan that I led there. All sorts of things. And in Montana, we have a number of council camps, Melita Island, Cape RM, Grizz Base, and a lot of the attendees are from Montana Council, but certainly a lot of people come from out of state. And conversely, troops in town will go to other camps outside of the state
experience
as well.
Different locations. Yeah. Let's see. What's something you've noticed in your kids? I know they've only been in Scouts for a few years, but are there any maybe values or experiences that you're just really glad that they've taken in from Scouts?
Yeah, I think, having the opportunity for my oldest son, who's the one who's officially in Scouts now.
Mm-hmm.
I have a 3-year-old as well who's not there yet, but he's at most of the meetings, and he thinks he's a Cub Scout. He's ready to be part of it.
Well, just probably 2 years or so, right?
Yeah, won't be long. So, my 7-year-old, he has learned a lot about leadership as well. I think as much as can be learned at that age.
Yeah.
And we talk a lot about behavior and the way to interact with others and the way to respect people when they're talking, and how to have fun with your peers, but also kind of know when to dial it back. The things that they get a bit of in school, but it's really not. It's not the job of a kindergarten or first grade or second grade teacher to focus on. They're trying to work on Common Core standards and get that kind of stuff out of the way. And so it's really working on character development, certainly physical development. It's not a boot camp by any means, but just physical development through play and having fun is really important. And experience in the outdoors. Montana, a lot of people are outdoors families already, but to different extents. Yeah. And so we were camping and backpacking even before he started in Cub Scouts, but certainly that continues at that level, and it's fun seeing him interact with his peers and his friends in those situations. Kids that age just thrive outside, I believe. I believe that's kind of their natural habitat, for lack of a better term. And just have a great time out there.
So if you were to guess what his favorite activity is in Scouts?
Oh, his favorite. He loves shooting sports. So cool. As a Cub Scout, when we go to some of the council events, they get to do archery or what we call wrist rockets, which are just slingshots, basically. And air rifles, so BB guns. And so he loves that kind of stuff. He's a pretty good shot, I gotta say. And so like in our day camp, the kids get to do BB guns and do archery, and those are always really popular events. So I think those are his favorite. Yeah. And most of your, I guess the times you're with your pack or with the dens, you encourage families to come along, parents, siblings. Absolutely. That's one of the great things about Cub Scouts is that it's very family focused. Almost all of our events are open to the family. So a couple weeks ago, we wrapped up the summer with our last summer event, which was an outdoor swim party on one of the coldest, rainiest days of the summer, unfortunately, out here at Splash, Montana. That's how it works. We had lots of families there. So every scout that showed up had a sibling or more with them and had a parent or more with them. And so, it's a time for everybody to participate together. Yeah. One of the challenges I think that people look at when they see an opportunity like scouting or whatever, youth sports, whatever options that they look at, is trying to figure out how are we going to fit this into our already busy schedule. We've already got school and all the personal stuff that we would take care of. How do we fit that in our schedule and still have time with our family? And I think Scouts in particular really speaks to that in the sense that the focus is on including the entire family in everything that we do, and it can be parents or grandparents, siblings and cousins, and even friends a lot of time that attend these events with the Scouts. And so scouting is not something that takes away from that time as a family. It's something that really enables your family to spend time together at our different events. Yeah. So I think that's probably one of the concerns that stops people from signing up for Scouts, like you said. And another might be funds. So some parents are used to things costing a lot of money for their kids to participate. What does Cub Scouts do to help curb that? Well, that's a good question. So it's to say it's priced very competitively is not really the right way to put it. So most packs and certainly our pack, we won't turn anybody away due to inability to pay. So there are scholarships available and financial aid available. But for a family walking in and paying the full amount, essentially it amounts to, I'm going to get my numbers right, but it's under $30 a year. I think it's $26 or $28 a year at this point. That essentially is a registration fee that goes to the council that our pack collects and pays directly to the council to register that scout. It ensures the scout while they're on our trips and while they're on our activities. So there's that basically less than $30 fee that they're paying up front. Then there's the cost of uniform and whatnot that can vary by age. Those are not requirements. Again, we've got a lot of hand-me-down uniforms and a lot of things that people can get there. But, you know, you can go to the Scout shop here in town, purchase that kind of stuff. Our youngest kids, like the Lion Cubs or Lion Scouts, they tend to just wear a Scout T-shirt. That's a lot less expensive than the button-up uniform shirt. And then the rest of our events, the rest of our activities for our pack are all paid for through a single fundraiser that we do each year. So a lot of folks may know that the Scouts sell popcorn. So Trails End popcorn is sold exclusively by the Scouts BSA, and so our Cub Scouts, our older Scouts, sell that. And that's coming up here in the fall. And we ask each of our Scout families to participate in that sale and to do as much as they can for it. And the proceeds that come from the sale of popcorn, our pack gets a portion of that, and that allows us to fund essentially our entire scouting year. So I mentioned our water park, our outdoor pool day the other day, and we pay for that for the Scouts. There's no fee for the Scouts. Day camp, there's no fee for the Scouts for that. Our overnight camp that we do in the fall, we do one in the spring. And the pack pays for the food for those activities. And so all that is handled through our PAC's budget that's funded through the popcorn sales.
That's really neat that it's only one. You're not constantly selling something, which is kind of nice.
You know, and I'll jump on and add to that. And I'll just say from a personal standpoint, I hate fundraising. In a previous career, I was in the nonprofit industry, and I had to make a change eventually out of it because I really didn't like asking people for money. But popcorn sales is something that's a little bit different. There's an intent behind it. It's not just for the money, right? The opportunity for kids to get out there, particularly these young kids, to get out there and either stand in front of a store and ask strangers as they come in if they'd like to buy popcorn and really explain the options out there for them, or to go door to door and explain to their friends and neighbors about the options, builds a substantial amount of character in those Scouts. And I had a particular Scout in my den who 2 years ago when he came in was a great kid, very shy, very quiet, very respectful, but really kind of head down and didn't want to engage that much. And his mother came to me after that first year in Scouts and really talked about how much he'd changed. And a lot of that was related to popcorn sales. And I did some a shift with him and some other kids in front of a business here in town last fall. And boy, he just shined. I mean, he loved it to be able to go up and talk to people and explain what the products were. And the little kids, it's a little bit easier because they're cute. It's hard to say resist.
No. I've been there in front of Walmart. Can't say no. Well, that's awesome to be able to see the change in the kiddos you're working with, even just a year, and see them grow up. I think especially those young kids in Cub Scouts are growing a lot within the 1 year time frame. So right now in Missoula, as we're recording this, we're about to go into the start of school, which is a little crazy, but also means heavy recruitment season for Scouts. So if someone maybe listens to this the day I publish it and it's prime time to get their kids involved, what does that look like for someone?
Well, there are lots of opportunities out there, and when we want new folks in Scouts year round, so anybody can join. But you're right that the fall is really a push for us for recruiting as people are getting back into school. So if you don't know at all where to go, you can start at beascout.org. Go there and you can put in your zip code and find some units around you to be able to contact and get some information from that. You may see flyers or signs at your school. PACs are usually affiliated with different areas of the town, and so there may be a PAC in your area that you may see flyers for. And most of the PACs are going to have some kind of sign-up night at a church or at the school where they can provide information for the unit and talk about sort of how things work through the year and get you signed up and registered. So if you're not seeing that, you definitely should reach out. Like I said, beascout.org is a great place to get those resources and those answers right away. But you can walk into our Scout shop on Spruce Street, or you can call the number there and get some information.
So, and then another time during the year, that's what you'd recommend, visiting the website or giving a call?
Yeah, absolutely. So year round, we're every unit is happy to have new Scouts and happy to have people come visit. And again, I don't want to speak for every unit, although my guess is that everybody pretty much feels the same way. you can come visit anytime, right? There's no commitment. These meetings aren't secret, right?
Right.
You come, you see what Scouts is about. You let your kid or kids participate and see if it's something you feel like they're going to enjoy. Talk to some of the other parents that are there. Talk to some of the leaders that are there, and really get a feel for it.
Yeah.
And the commitment is very minimal. Like I said, the financial commitment and all that's minimal. And I've said this before, but what a great opportunity for your family to spend more time together. I'm a great example, right? So I'm involved in every scouting activity that we do as the leader there. And a lot of our other dedicated parents are the same way. They choose to become volunteer leaders. And there's excellent training that's available for that. And, it's a great opportunity to set that example for your kids and for your family and just be right there with them. Yeah,
that sounds awesome. If someone's listening to this who's considering getting their kids involved in Scouts, what's one thing that you would tell them?
Well, just jump right in and do it.
Yeah.
Right? Jump right in. And like I said, find a unit near you, get online or go stop by the Scout office and, find a unit that you can go and visit and just jump right in. Just give it a shot. Yeah. Awesome. Well, is there anything else you'd like to speak about? No, I can't think of anything else specific. I'm a walking commercial for Scouts. It's done so much for me personally. Yeah. A lot of my professional skills and interpersonal skills I developed from being in Scouts, from growing up in it. And it can sound corny to say, but it really did a lot for me. And this is my opportunity as a leader to give back. I volunteer quite a bit for Scouts. I don't get anything out of it monetarily, but it's an opportunity for me to give back to an organization that really gave me so much. Yeah, and you're spreading that to all of the 50 kids or whoever that are in your pack now, which is great. Yeah. So awesome. Well, thanks, Scott. I think that was really informative for any parent that's listening or someone who might be interested. Great. So yeah, thanks for joining us on the show. You bet. Thanks for having me. Sure.